Good morning. I'm drinking some coffee out of my Toronto Maple Leafs mug, my beer mug. And, the Toronto Maple Leafs, they've had a great start. Makes me happy. Sort of in line with that, unexpected victories, I did a readathon. And it's the Books in the Freezer Readathon to commemorate or celebrate the 1 year anniversary of the Books in the Freezer podcast. And I took part, and I actually completed it. Yeah, I'm surprised too. Honestly, I'm surprised because I'm a slow reader, and I can be pretty busy. And when you're busy, it's just not as easy to, I'm busy going places and coming back, and when you have to drive a lot, it's not always so easy to pack in the reading. But I actually did it. I think my strategy is what helped me complete it, is I picked all thin books. I didn't pick anything that was too much over 100 pages. They were all novellas. So it was, I don't know if you count that as cheating, but I don't think so. I read 5 books in 2 weeks. That's really damn impressive for me. So I'm going to go through and tell you what I thought about some of the books, and some of them I'm going to save for their own reviews. So the first challenge was read a book by a female author, and I read Whispers by Kristin Dearborn. Now this is an ode to H.P. Lovecraft's Whisper in Darkness. And overall, I really enjoyed this book. I did have an issue with the beginning. A character made a decision in the beginning that just didn't match, not her character per se, but something else that happened later on in the story. It just didn't make much sense to me. Basically what happens is this woman is driving home. She lives in the mountains, and she runs across a hitchhiker. First of all, I don't think this character would have picked up the hitchhiker and taken her up the mountain just to leave her there. That seems like a mean, cruelty, especially when she knows what's up there. And even, it doesn't matter if they only come out at night. It's pretty late in the day when she drops her off. So she picks her up, she drops her off, and she says, that's it, I'm not taking you any farther, and you're not coming back with me, because, to her home, because she's like, well, the woman she picks up is a young woman, and she's like, I have nowhere to go. If nobody picks me up, I'm screwed. It's raining out, and can I come back to your place just for the night? And our protagonist is like, no, you're not coming with me. I think this could have been just easily avoided. It was unnecessary. After that, though, the story picks up, and the ending of this book's like, oh my god, wow, this book goes to some dark places. And other than that blunder in the beginning, that didn't make any sense to me, this is a good book. I recommend it. I'm going to give it 4 stars. Challenge number 2 is read a horror anthology or short story collection, and I was going to read Welcome to the Show, but I ended up going with something shorter, and that was Dead Leaves, a collection of Halloween horror stories by Kealan Patrick Burke. I'm going to save mostly this for its own review, because I started a new series on Halloween reads, my recommendations for Halloween reads, and so stay tuned for that. But I will say I liked it, and if you go and pick it up, it's important to remember that it's not necessarily Halloween themed. It's more about autumn. Every story either takes place for Halloween, or it just happens to be fall when you're reading, or within the circumstances of the story or the background. Alright, challenge 3, read a horror book featuring or by a person of color or LGBTQ plus person. And I went with The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Lavalle, and I read this book in one day, in one sitting while I was at work. And that's again, unlike me. I only done that once before, and that was with Clive Barker's Hellbound Heart. That's it, Hellbound Heart. I read that one in one sitting. I've never done it until that one Sunday, slow day at work, where I read it in like a couple of hours. Anyways, it's a fantastic book. I'm going to review that one as well. Number 4, read a horror book that has a movie adaptation. I chose Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu, and the movie would have been the Vampire Lovers, a Hammer horror film from, I think it's late 60s. I love the movie, but the book, well, I decided to listen to an audio version of it. I think it might have been better had I read it, because the narrator, if you listen to Books in the Freezer, I recently listened to their audiobook episode, and Rachel, if she can't resonate with the narrator, then she can't listen to the audiobook. And this book was almost the same for me. I just didn't like her voices for the characters, and and overall, you know, some of it wasn't just the narrator's fault, though. Some of it was the writing itself. The basic story is this one little girl lives with her family in a large castle-like house, and one day a carriage rolling by their house, the wheel breaks, and they have to fix it. And the little girl that's in the carriage, Carmilla, gets hurt while she's there, and so the family decide to take her in while the mother goes and does her errand, which is going to take her till the end of the month. And while they're there, the two little girls are like 13, 14 years old. They basically fall in love with each other, and it's very romantic in a sense, and it's just the romance, but I love you, oh, but I love you more. Just that over and over again. It got really old. I did not like it. As of right now, I'm going to give it a 2 stars, because it is a classic, and it is important. It's also gay literature, I would hesitate to say. There's no like love making or anything like that, unless you count the biting on the breasts. But it's very, it would fit with the LGBTQ, I think, honestly. And even if it wasn't intended, I think when Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu wrote the story, he was thinking more along the lines of, you know, just how maybe little girls act, you know, when they find somebody that they really relate with. But in today's world, it kind of comes off as a little, you know, gay, and that's okay. It was more the language for me, just the, oh, but I love you so much. Ugh. You know, like, romance is okay with me as long as it's done right. If it's all gushy stuff like that, it just irks me. I'm terrible for that, I guess. Okay, so yeah, 2 stars for that. I'm gonna give it another chance, though, at some point. I want to read it, maybe listen to another narrator. I think this was a French, like Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. Pretty sure he was French and wrote it in French, so it could also be the translation. I don't know. So I want to experience it again in a different format. And finally, number 5, the 5th challenge. Read a book we've recommended on the podcast, and I listened to The Lesser Dead by Christopher Buehlman. Now, actually, there's a couple of times that they recommended this on their podcast. One was on the audiobook that I was talking about, and the other one was their Valentine's Vampire episode. But I think it was Rachel listened to the Audible version, and she was saying that Christopher Buehlman narrated the story. Oh my god, he's so good at narrating this story. It was awesome. I think, you know, it was a good story. I liked it regardless, but I think his narration really made it even better than the text itself would have been. and so it was a really interesting read for me. I'm going to give this one 4.5 stars, and I might review it on its own as well. Alright, so that was my my first readathon ever, and I succeeded at it. I'm glad that I succeeded at it. It gave me a little bit of a ego boost, and you know, we all need those every so often. So thanks for watching. Keep being creative and stay tuned for more bookish content.